everybody? Elliot here from Movie Files, back with our weekly recap, breakdown, review, whatever you want to call it, for the latest episode of Game of Thrones. And tonight, we're here to talk about episode 5, which last time I checked is being titled The Bells, which has a very significant meaning in the episode, which we'll talk about here. And as you guys, if this is your first time tuning in to our recap of Game of Thrones, this is a spoiler field zone, so definitely comment now. Let me know what you thought of the overall episode, the surprises, things you didn't like, things you loved. Let me know in the comments. But also at the same time, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Make sure you hit that notification bell to stay updated with our latest movie reviews, TV breakdowns, trailer reactions, unboxing videos, and also giveaways. So definitely subscribe to our channel. So we are here to kind of break it all down. We got a lot of stuff that, I thought was going to happen, a lot of stuff that didn't play out the way I did. I thought that it was going to play out, so we are here to break all of that down, review it, recap it, and then again, I want you guys to comment below, let me know your overall thoughts. So with that being said, let's jump into this review. All right, so within the first 10 minutes, I want to say, we get a lot of things that really go down. So first and foremost, we pick up after the events of last week's, demise of Missandei, and seeing how, well, first off, we see Varys kind of writing some letters out to his little birds, as he calls it, and, one of his spies come in and says, she's not eating, she's not doing this, that, and the other, speaking of Dany, that, she's just still in shock of what happened and just is really kind of in her emotions at this moment, which is very understandable, losing someone really close to her. But we see Varys kind of plotting and obviously trying to get the word, trying to spread that virus per se. In Dany's eyes, is getting the word out that Jon is who Jon's, who he is. He's Targaryen, and he should be the one up for the throne. So we see that kind of play out, and we see, which was a really interesting shot, was we see Dany in the stage that she's at, in the state that she's in, the mindset that she's in the actual visual that we get of her being kind of embracing what we get later in this episode, which we'll talk about, is the Mad Queen. We can only imagine what her dad looked like when he was going through that moment where, I can't remember what season it was, but it's always been kind of said a couple times that you never want to have a Targaryen feel isolated, and we see what that looks like on Dany's face in this episode, and how she hasn't been sleeping, she hasn't been eating, she just looks crazy. He looks mad at this point, which obviously goes into later in the episode. So we get that. We obviously see Tyrion continuously trying to tell Dany, we don't need to go about it this way, and this, that, and the other. Jon is trying to talk to her and all that stuff, but Dany's just at the point where she's just given up. She's lost, which is a very interesting thing I really want to bring to you all is and we're going to talk about Dany's actions this episode, but was her actions, was the time given to see this switch, this turn that we get in the character? For me personally, it's an overall, yes, I would love to have gotten another season and would love to maybe gotten even more episodes within this season, but I think within this arc that we've gotten so far from Dany, at least speaking of just this season alone, I think it's justified, to be honest with you. Me personally, she loses Missandei, she loses half of her army with the Dothraki and the Unsullied, she loses, Jorah, and so many losses throughout, not even just this season, but then going back to just her growing up and all that stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that this character has gone through, and she's isolated again. She doesn't feel the love. She says it to Jon in this episode. Before we get to that, it's just going back to that look she has. I think it's justified, but again, I'm posing that question to you all. Do you think the switch that Dany has had is justified in your eyes? I would love to know that. So, recapping again within that first 10 to 15 minutes, we get the moment where Tyrion tells Dany that, the truth is out. And Dany says that, she knows and someone's betrayed her, and that's Jon. And then he's like, yeah, but it was really Varys, because he's obviously using it to kind of spin things. Jon is still loyal to you, even though he went against what you told him to do. He's still loyal and calling you his queen. So he's really not the enemy here. It's Varys in a sense. So we see that kind of play out. And, again, it's showing Dany her fear factor. She doesn't just have Grey Worm maybe kill Varys in a lighter, or not a lighter moment, but chop his head off or stab him quietly and kind of put him to rest. She burns the man on fire, which is going to show not only her power for her armies and things of that nature, but that's a sign for not only Tyrion, but also Jon, that this is what could potentially happen to you if you continue to disobey me in a sense, or not listen to what I'm telling you to do, which is not tell people the truth that we spoke about. So this is, again, just showing Dany, another hint at Dany kind of leaning towards what we get at the end of this episode. So we get that moment. Tyrion, again, is continuing to tell Dany, we need to let the these people of the innocents in the Red Keep and the people of Westeros have an opportunity to kind of not be killed in this manner. And, they have this kind of agreement in a sense where she says, yes, if the bells are rung, I won't let, the innocent people die, but mercy is our best, is our strength right now. So, we'll give him that opportunity. She kind of, gives him that window of hope there, but she also threatens him at the same time. She says, if you fail me again, you're going to end up like your best friend Varys, which again, I want to kind of go back to that moment because I don't want to overlook Varys's arc as a character. Again, played beautifully by the actor throughout the 8 seasons that we got him, and having him and Tyrion, even though it's kind of, snitches get stitches, but snitches get burnt in this particular moment. But, it was a really nice moment to see Varys and Tyrion kind of have that moment. But, we kind of fast forward in the episode, obviously we learned at that point that Dany has captured Jaime. Tyrion goes talk to Jaime and tells him, I want you kind of a role reversal in a sense from a couple seasons ago when Tyrion was in the same position where Jaime let him get escape. Excuse me, coming off for a cold here. Jaime allows Tyrion to escape and tells him to go to a boat and all that stuff, and we know how that played out. And actually, this time around, it's kind of nice to see that role reversal and also that nice moment that we get with Tyrion and Jaime, where we hear Tyrion just telling Jaime, "If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here to this day," because obviously he had the terrible upbringing with his dad and his sister and all that stuff, and obviously people making fun of him and his height and all that stuff. So this was a nice moment that we see Jaime and Tyrion, and it really hits home why they were so close and what their relationship meant to one another, and why Jaime would save Tyrion a couple seasons ago, and why Tyrion would go against his queen and save Jaime. So I really appreciate that moment, and that was obviously for me, and this kind of went into even last week that it predicted, Jaime was going to die, but that was just a nice send-off, a nice goodbye between the two brothers, which leads into, the big moment of the episode, which is, now we've gotten those things out of the way, and now we're approaching King's Landing. We're in Westeros, Jon's there with his crew. We got the Dothraki, we got the Unsullied, and everything going on, and now this is where the episode really kicks into high octane, high action. All right, so I'm not going to sit here and talk about the actual battle that we get, but just kind of summarizing it, we see Dany using her dragons to her advantage and also using, the sun to her advantage, because now she's coming down to Euron and the Golden Compass and the Golden Army, and she uses the sun as an advantage. It comes in and takes out the fleet, and it was really, at first I'm like, man, that was kind of easy, but I'm just thinking about it. Yes, she's using the sun to her advantage, and also those, I believe they call them the Scorpions, they're pretty heavy machinery or heavy gear to kind of, these Dragon Slayer type of machines, again, called Scorpions. They're pretty hard to turn, so it kind of made more sense as I was thinking about that. Yes, she has the advantage. Dragons are quick. They're not slow creatures, so it made sense that she was able to wipe them out pretty easily. And, we see Jon, coming through the gates and Tyrion at this point. And I love that the strategy of Dany coming in through the back and blowing out the Golden Army, which in a sense was satisfying, but at the same time I thought that the Golden Army was going to be so much more a formidable enemy, but they were just kind of taken out really quickly, which again, this episode wasn't about the battle per se. It was more or less of what we got with Dany in this episode and showing her not having any mercy and her becoming the Mad Queen in a sense. So, the Golden Army being taken out pretty quickly, and then we see from there on out, just kind of breaking down some key moments. We see, Jaime not get into the gate, but finds his way into, into the Red Keep. We'll get to that with her and Cersei, Jaime and Cersei. And we see Arya and the Hound get their way in there. But then, we get to the point where Dany is destroying everything, and she's sitting down on her dragon, and they ring the bells, which is the title of this episode. And again, Tyrion has been hitting it on the head this entire episode. Hey, Jon, when you hear those bells, pull everyone back. Hey, Dany, when we hear these bells, that's them surrendering. But Dany just kind of breathes in. She thinks about things. She's probably thinking in her head, this is going back to many seasons ago when she wants to break the chain. She wants to do things a different way. And I'm not saying this a good way, but I mean, she goes full Mad Queen. Dany, I thought at a moment she was going to say, let them all burn, kind of like her dad did in his final moments. But she didn't do that. She just took everyone out, and it was devastating. It was just like, wow, she really, and again, I think it's justified. I think that switch is really justified in her character arc throughout the season, and also just throughout the series. So, It's brutal. She takes out innocent people. At first, it was mostly just the army that she was taking out, but then it was just the people of the Westeros, the innocent people, and you see people burning and people, dying at the hands of Dany. But also, at that point, the Unsullied are just killing people left and right. We see Jon's people in the north just killing people. We even see, this one woman almost getting raped, and Jon saved her. But it's just barbaric at this point. Sir Davos is just looking at Jon like, this is just, we didn't sign up for this. This is crazy. So we get those moments. We see Arya in the Hound share a moment when the Hound says, you don't want to go this route, you're gonna save yourself, and she thanks him. And I think at that point that's Arya kind of going back to Arya and kind of removing the assassin mindset that she's had these last couple seasons. And we get the this is definitely fan service in the best way possible. We see the Hound versus the Mountain, which was really great. I love when Cersei just is kind of like, all right, I'm gonna let you two handle this, I'm gonna get out of here, as everything is falling on top of them. That was a really great moment. Again, I think for me, the Hound's story, his character arc ended when he told Arya to go, because obviously the battle was great to see, but it was really no emotional moment for me seeing him fight, because his brother's obviously a zombie at that point. There's really he's not human, so it's almost like when the humans were fighting the undead, the White Walkers. There's no emotion on the other side. It's just people just being taken out, people killing these emotionless animals, monsters, and that was the same kind of fight for me. I love the fight, but it just didn't have that emotional connection as the moment that Arya and the Hound had. But it was still great to see some really visual, great shots throughout the episode, especially when you see the Mountain and the Hound fighting, the dragons in the background. Very beautifully shot, and we see no better way than the Hound going out than dying in a pit of fire. And I believe they're both dead. I don't think any one of them was going to survive that drop. I think those characters are done, and it went out in a really well way. We see Arya going through the streets of Westeros. I thought that was just kind of beautifully shot, because we see this badass character that took out the Night King a couple episodes, 2 episodes ago, but she's just terrified because everything's just blowing up. She has this kind of moment with these two characters that we kind of followed throughout the episode, and it was just destruction on top of destruction. And then just kind of wrapping up this review here and this kind of recap, we see, again, this Dany taking out everyone. A moment that really didn't sit well with me, because I'm really not a fan. It's not per se the actor, but I'm not a fan of the character of Euron. We see Euron taking out Jaime in a sense, or not taking him out, but, stabbing him a couple times and having his moment. I will say the line of him saying, he killed the Kingslayer was nice. I just wasn't a fan of that particular character. I'm glad he's dead now, but we get the moment where Jaime and Cersei have their moment, which, again, I thought for me the moment played out better for the Jaime character, more so than Cersei, in the sense that I remember many seasons ago Jaime saying that he wants to die in the arms of the woman he loves. So I think that moment was more of a play for Jaime's character than Cersei, because I thought that Cersei was going to go out on the hands of Jaime, of maybe Tyrion or Arya, but they obviously kind of die with the castle and everything falling on them. So that was a very interesting moment. I'd love to know if you guys were satisfied by the death of not just Jaime but also Cersei. And also, again, just kind of recapping everything and wrapping up. We lose some pivotal characters. Again, I just mentioned it. Cersei, Jaime, the Hound, the Mountain, Euron, and of course the thousands of innocent people in this episode that died on the hands of Dany. So that leads me to ask this question, wrapping up this video. What do you think the finale is? I think at the end of the day, which it doesn't matter to me, because as long as I'm satisfied, I'm happy. But I think next week's episode, no matter what happens, people are going to be unsatisfied, but that's not my prerogative. That's not my main concern. I am excited to see what they bring, but I want to know what you guys think is going to happen. Is Arya going to take out Dany? Are we going to get a time jump? I think based on the next week's episode clip, it looks like it's going to pick up, immediately after the events that happened. And also, I love that the clip that we got, it was the prophecy, right, that Dany had in season 2, kind of how everything looks now, the snow coming down. So will we get a time jump? Will Dany be pregnant with Jon's child potentially? Will Jon have to take out Dany? There's so many possibilities, but I would love to know what you guys are thinking. What will happen on the series finale of Game of Thrones, a show that I have loved, and so sad to see an ending, but I would love to know what you guys are thinking. Thank you for watching my recap review. I really enjoyed this episode. I'm going to watch it again. There were some great moments. Again, other than that Euron time kind of battle with Jamie. I really thought the episode played out well. I think that the Danny switch, or the dark side of Danny, is justified, and I'm really excited to see what we get next week and who's going to end up on that throne, if someone will end up on the throne at all. So thank you for watching this review, recap, breakdown. Subscribe to our channel. Make sure you're following us on all of our social media accounts, and particularly on Instagram. We're very active on Instagram. We're at Movie Files, so definitely follow us there. We go live every Thursday to have interactions with you all, so definitely subscribe to our channel, follow us on social media. Make sure you hit that notification bell to stay up to date with our content. Check out our content that we have on our channel now. Just did a review for Pikachu, Detective Pikachu, so check that out. Thank you guys again for watching this, and we will see you next week, and we'll see you throughout the week with trailer reactions and more reviews coming soon.